Everybody, please welcome to the stage, Gus Tate!
Thank you. Thank you for coming. This is cool. It's been a funny couple of years, huh? You know, I'm getting older. Anybody else getting older? I'm getting older. I still don't know if I'm ready to have kids, which is weird because I have one already. But I don't feel ready. If that makes any sense. I don't think I look like a dad. Do you guys think I look like a dad? I think I look like I need a dad, but I have to be a dad. And I'm a stay-at-home dad, that's my job. Stay-at-home dad, yep, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My wife has a real job, you know, and I've got you guys. And no, my wife has a good job. She makes 6 figures a year. And I make 5 people laugh occasionally, so we're a good team, I think. But that means I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I do everything. I cook, I clean, I do the laundry, I take care of our 3-year-old daughter all day. So I feel like as a man, like I finally get it, you know? I finally understand all the work that women have been doing for thousands of years. And I gotta say, it is not that hard. Actually, it is. I know. I know, I was shocked also to find, just from the way you guys were making it look all tough and stuff, I thought, nah, I'm just kidding. It's hard or whatever I have to say to get you guys to like me. But I just think it's funny that people make such a big deal out of it, you know, especially when a guy does it. Like when a guy is the parent, people love it, you know? I was in the supermarket when my daughter was a baby, and a woman called me a hero. Just for holding a baby and being a man. This lady was in line behind me. She was like, wow, what a hero. I was like, lady, I just don't have a job right now. I'm not... She said hero like I just rescued my daughter, you know? Like from an orphanage or something. But she doesn't know me, you know? For all she knows, I could be on my way to an orphanage. Just to make a deposit, you know? But I didn't. I kept her, but I'm just saying, don't compliment people you don't know, you know? You know when you see a guy with flowers walking down the street with a big bouquet of flowers, and you're like, aw, who's the lucky lady? He could have murdered her. You don't know. You don't know what those flowers are for. Or she's alive, and those are sorry I fucked your sister flowers. You don't know. Just keep your compliments to yourself. So, I'm busy all the time because I'm a stay-at-home parent, but it's a different busy. People that go to an office, they think they're busy. You know, they'll say stuff like, "Ooh, busy day." You got no idea, buddy. Here's the difference. If you go to an office, you can take a shit. You can just take a shit whenever you want. It doesn't matter how busy you think you are. You could be talking to your boss and, excuse me, and then just go take a shit. And your boss doesn't follow you into the bathroom and be all like, "Are you pooping? Are you pooping, Daddy?" That's what my boss does. I'm tired all the time, and I'm tired of people having cooler reasons to be tired than me. You know when single people have like cool single reasons to be tired? Like, ooh, pretty tired from last night, if you know what I mean. Do you guys know what they mean? They mean that they had sex. That used to bother me. Until I realized, you know what, I'm tired because my 3-year-old won't sleep in her own bed the whole night because she's 3, because we had her 3 years ago. Because my wife got pregnant. Because I had sex. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Now when anyone is like, yeah, I'm tired because I had sex, I'm like, yeah, man, me too, you know? Oh, what a night of passion that was 4 years ago. But whatever. It comes back around, you know? I always say you'll never regret having kids, you know? I don't know if anyone's on the fence, but you should just do it. Just have kids, because you won't regret it, because you won't have time. Because regret is something that you need free time to do. Right? If you don't have kids, you might regret it forever on your yacht or whatever. But just sad and rich. But if you do have kids, you won't ever regret it because you won't have you might have 2 seconds to yourself where you're like, oh, maybe that was a bad, and then your kid will shit on the floor right at that moment, at that exact moment. And then you got to clean it up and then you're fine. That's how it works. So I'm one of those people that it's always trying to get people to have kids, you know? You know those people that like they're normal friends and then they have kids and then they want you to have kids just because they had kids. Here's a secret. You can't trust those people. Because they made an irreversible decision, you know? So of course they want you to come over to their side because they can't go to you. It's like if a ghost was like, hey, you should kill yourself. Ooh. I love being dead, personally. Come on. It's so rewarding. Slit your wrists, it'll be fun. The other thing parents like to say is they like to ask if you're gonna have another one. Oh, you had a kid, are you gonna have another one? Motherfucker, can you be proud of me for one goddamn second? You gonna have another one? We don't do that with other life accomplishments, you know? Like when someone gets married, it's like, oh, is that your wife? You gonna have another wife? You should, the more the merrier, you know? Some people don't just have other wives, they have like whole other families. You ever read about these guys that have like secret families? Like they cheated on their wife, and then they have another family that they go back and forth between. That always seemed insane to me. I mean, one, because I would never cheat on my wife. Obviously, it's wrong and immoral. But if I did, I wouldn't start another family. That's what do you fucking... That's the thing I would be escaping from. Like, if you were in prison, why would you tunnel out of prison directly into another prison? All right. Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. Interesting that was the applause break. All right. Very cool. I like how you guys think. No, I'm gonna stick with the one family. I like this family. You know, I like my role in it. I like being the stay-at-home dad. I want my daughter to think that it's normal, by the way, to have a stay-at-home dad. You know, I lie to her and I tell her that women have always gone to work and men always stay at home. I tell her that because I want her to be a feminist, you know, and to not think that I'm a loser, you know. Like, Daddy's not a loser, he's just very traditional, you know? Daddy could have made $1 million if it wasn't for the goddamn matriarchy, you know? Oh, damn it. Oh. The woman keeping Daddy down, you know? That's a fun lie until, like, I don't know, sometimes it's hard to keep it up, you know, like when we're outside in the morning and we see a man obviously going to work with a briefcase or whatever, I gotta be like, what's he doing out of the kitchen, huh? What? There's a hungry wife out there. He should, that ain't right. He should know his place. I do want her to be a feminist, you know? I want her to believe in herself as a woman, you know? As a baby woman. I want her to, if she wants to, I want her to be the first female president, you know? Yeah. So until that happens, I will be voting against every female candidate because because I'm a feminist. No, I like saying that I'm a feminist. That's a fun thing to say, that I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist, but like by default. Like it's pretty easy to be a feminist when your wife pays for everything, you know? Like, because people say stuff like, women deserve higher wages. And I'm like, yeah, we do need a bigger TV, actually, yeah. Right there with you, sisters, you know? No, it's fun being a stay-at-home dad. It's fun going to the playground. Sometimes I'll be, like, the only man at the playground. I mean, there's a bunch of, like, 5-year-old men, but I'm the only adult man. It's like me and a bunch of moms and nannies and stuff. It's kind of awkward. It's like, you ever go to a store, but you already have a drink from a different store? So you kind of gotta like wave it around a little bit so they see you with it, so they don't think that you're stealing it later. That's what I have to do with my daughter at the playground. I gotta roll up and be like, hey, nice day to be out with your own kid, right? Ladies. Got the receipt for her, if it helps. I have to do that because she hates to leave. My daughter hates leaving the playground. And that's always a little awkward when you're a man, you know? This has completely ruined my ability to spot a kidnapping. I don't even know what that would look like anymore. Like if I saw a grown man dragging a little girl out of a playground, I'd be like, hey, I've been there. No. Dude, I totally get it, man. Dude, my daughter's the same way, you know? Sometimes you just gotta throw her in an unmarked van like you're doing. That's... What a dad. Somebody got us a girl boss shirt for her. It's a shirt that says girl boss. I don't think it's cute. Because I'm her actual boss, you know? That's not nice. She doesn't know that's a joke. But people are like, oh, we have to empower these young women. We have to empower young girls. Have you ever met a 3-year-old girl? They're pretty fucking empowered already. They don't have a self-esteem problem. No 3-year-old girl's ever been like, I just don't feel like I deserve ice cream. I don't know. I just feel like society doesn't want me to have more chocolate. Like, as a woman? No. Thank you. There's a book at the bookstore in the children's section called Feminist Baby. Have you guys seen this? Feminist Baby. It's like feminist baby chooses what she wants to wear, and if you don't like it, she doesn't care. Cool. Could you tell feminist baby that her diaper is leaking a little bit? Because sorry. I don't want to shit on feminism. It's like very important for women and for everybody, feminism. I just think it should enter a woman's life sometime after she stops shitting her pants. It's just... I don't want to mansplain, but I'm just... I had an idea for a Disney movie recently. It's never been done before. It's a movie where the princess listens to her dad. What do you think? Just for a little diversity? Disney dads are so poorly respected. It's wild. Every Disney dad is like, oh, Jasmine, would you just stay in the palace? We got one rule here, is that you got to stay in your palace. Please, Jasmine. Whatever, Dad. Why? Why do I have to stay in the palace? I don't know, Jasmine. Maybe because it's medieval Saudi Arabia out there. And you're kind of dressed like a stripper a little bit? Is that just trying to help you? Whatever, Dad. I'm gonna sneak out anyway. And then I'm gonna make out with literally the first homeless person that I meet in the movie. Unbelievable, this chick. How am I supposed to get my daughter to eat broccoli after that? There is that part in Aladdin when she almost gets caught. Do you remember that, where she gets caught by the palace guard? He's about to cut her hand off with that big sword, and then she gets saved by Aladdin. I think it would be kind of cool if the movie just ended right there. Just sword up, cut to black. Shink! Roll credits. My daughter starts crying. I'm like, oh my God, she should have listened to her dad, right? Wow, seems pretty harsh, but that's Sharia law for you, I guess. It's a rough world out there. All right, let's go brush our teeth. Come on, let's go brush. All right. Cool. I love my daughter though. She's great. She's beautiful, my daughter, incidentally. She's beautiful. That's not why I love her, but it's true. I know every dad says this about their kids, but my daughter's enough people at the playground, like other parents, have told me that my daughter is beautiful that I believe it. They'll be like, oh, your daughter's so gorgeous. And it's getting a little awkward. Because I never know what to say about their ugly kid, you know? Because I want to return the compliment, but no other compliment makes sense for a little kid other than that they're cute, you know? So I gotta be, they're like, oh my God, your daughter's so beautiful. Thanks, your son is a cool guy. He looks like he'd be fun to have a beer with, you know? Good hang, that kid. Oh, is that his sister? She looks dependable, wow. Yeah, good personality on her. My wife wanted to get her into baby modeling. Baby modeling. I thought that was a bad idea. Because some babies are cute as babies, and then they kind of grow out of it, and then they're not cute babies anymore. I don't want to have that talk with my daughter. Like when she's 4 years old, like, sorry, honey, you peaked pretty early. Goddamn. Wow. It's a young baby's game, you know? You just don't have the legs for it anymore. But I don't want to do that. No, I do worry a little bit about her when she gets to like high school, and the new thing that like some dads are worried about is like, ooh, is your teenage daughter gonna go trans without telling you? Are they gonna go trans? Are they gonna change their pronouns and take hormone blockers or whatever, or take testosterone and their chest gets all hairy and their voice gets deep? I think if I ever caught my daughter doing testosterone, I'd be like, hey, can I get some of that? Also, because she can be a man, but just not more man than me, I think Daddy gets a head start on that. I want to do testosterone. I think it's not fair that, who gets testosterone? Like only the boys trapped in girl bodies? What about men trapped in the bodies of lesser men? Like, I'm an alpha on the inside. That's who I am. I forget what I look like sometimes, one time I had to carry my wife's purse, like, to her office. Like, she left the wrong... I had to take this lady, obviously woman's purse. I was walking down the street with it, and it was important, apparently, so I was running. And I had this thought. I was like, ooh, better not run too fast. People are going to think I stole this purse. No. No. Nobody in New York thought that. I could be sprinting past a police station with a woman's purse, and they'd be like, damn, that tall lesbian is late. Holy shit. Did you guys see that skinny chick? She was booking it. I think it's the cheekbones. I've had women tell me they like my cheekbones, but it's never in a good way. It's never like, ooh, nice cheekbones. Want to fuck or whatever. It's like, It's like, oh my God, I wish I had your cheekbones. Me, a woman. Like, women have never wanted me for my body, they just want my body. Do you know what I mean? They want this. It's not fair. I can't do that to women, you know? I can't do that compliment thing. I can't be like, excuse me, miss, gotta say, that is an amazing mustache. Wow. Nice. What's your secret? I can't do that. I don't know. I don't go to the gym. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I don't go. I feel like the gym is for people that like want to look good naked, you know? And I look okay naked, but I just don't look good at the gym. That's not my place. I always feel weird like working out, you know, with the opposite sex in the same room. You shower in completely separate areas, but you work out together. I think it should be the other way. I want a gym where men and women shower together and then work out totally separately. Because I don't really care who sees me naked, you know? But if I'm trying to lift 20 pounds, ladies, look away. I'd rather you just see my dick at that point, because it's not an amazing penis, but it is the biggest muscle on my entire body. So that's what I gotta put your best dick forward, you know? I am tall, though. That's the one thing that I have that like women historically like, is that I'm tall. And I've noticed something about tall dudes is that we're pretty chill, you know? We don't get in a lot of fights, tall people. You know who does get in a lot of fights? Short people. They're always ready to go, you know? They're always like, you fucking wanna go? That's how they talk. That's the short accent. I have two theories about this. One is that short people are they're the same amount of human soul, but just smushed into a tinier frame, so they're just bursting at the seams. But the other reason tall people don't want to get in fights is because we can't afford to get knocked down. You know? Our heads are gonna fall, that's gonna destroy someone like me. But short people are like right there already, so they just roll, you know? Also, short dudes are always complaining about tall dudes getting laid. Oh, it must be pretty easy for you to get laid if you're tall. Yeah, not really anymore, dude. Maybe you mean single tall people, but I've been married for 6 years and it doesn't help me at all to be tall. Like when my wife is too tired to be in the mood after a long day of supporting me financially, I can't be like, yeah, but honey, remember how tall I am? You getting wet? Whoa. Oh, you have a headache. Okay, well, what if I get the Tylenol off the top shelf right up here? Oh, boom. See that tall shit? Yeah. All right, let's go. No, I can't do that. I got carded recently trying to buy a six-pack, and I didn't have my ID for whatever reason, and I was so mad. You're supposed to be like, ooh, you think I could be under 21 or whatever, but I wasn't, because he could only see my face. That's the only part of me that looks like it could conceivably be under 21. I feel like you should be able to show other parts of your body. Like, I think if that guy could see my balls, I'm getting that beer, you know? I think I'd get it for free, because my balls look like they served in Vietnam. I think he'd be like, you can have it. I think testicles should be legal form of age verification, because it's hard to fake, you know? It's harder to fake than a fake ID. I'm imagining like a bunch of high school kids with fake long balls, and they're like, oh. The store owner's like, get out of here, kids with your tight little nutsack, so you're not fooling me. Do you guys know that men die earlier than women? Do you know that? On average, men die earlier than women, which I think that's kind of rude to women, you know? Because men already come too early. And then we're like, well, see ya, you know? That's mean. Women just want companionship in old age, you know? And men are like, ugh, I'm gonna go, I think. I'm not... It's always like 50, 60. Women are like, but I just got menopause. Oh my God, look at my blood pressure. Good luck with all that. That's mean. I know I'm getting older because I'm still like horny all the time, but it's a different kind of horny, you know? Like it's a more mature horny. Like I used to see a beautiful woman on the street and I'd be like, damn, I want to fuck her or whatever. It's stupid, I know. I want to fuck her. That's stupid. But now I'm more mature. I'm 36. So I see a beautiful woman on the street now, and I'm like, damn, can somebody fuck her, please? Can somebody... Not me, I'm busy, but can somebody please... It's bothering me. Like it's not me. All right. I saw a welcome mat in front of somebody's door, and it was one of those welcome mats that's like, in this house, we welcome all genders, all religions, all colors, and there's like 10 things on it, which is very inclusive, and I like that. But I think it could be more inclusive if it just said, welcome. Because that includes everybody. Already, it includes people that can't see very good, you know? Don't make me read the whole thing to find out if I'm allowed into your... Don't make me be like, wait, honey, I gotta see if Jews are on here. Okay, we're good, let's go, you know. Just put welcome. It's also nicer to the kid in the sweatshop that has to sew it together, you know? Now, you know there's like a 9-year-old in Pakistan that's like... And pansexuals. Can I have a break? No! Psh. Don't forget about demisexuals. Psh. All right. On a similar note. Have you guys noticed that the rainbow flag for the LGBTQIA+ movement has more colors on it now? It's got like a light blue thing, and it's got a pink thing. It's also great. I love that. It's inclusive. But it has kind of ruined real rainbows for me, you know? Like now when I see an actual rainbow in nature, like rising beautifully above the mist, I'm like, look at that transphobic piece of shit up there. I know. Doesn't have the pink or the light blue on it. Honey, avert your eyes from this bigoted miracle. It's fucking, disgusting. Did you guys have a good Halloween? It was pretty fun, right? I took my daughter to the playground because there was a party, a costume party for kids at the playground. So all the kids were dressed up for Halloween. There was like Paw Patrol characters, there was Disney princesses, witches, every kid was dressed up. But I swear to God, there was this one, probably like 5-year-old boy. I swear he was dressed like an Orthodox Jew. Not joking. It was the whole thing with the hat and the curls and the tassels. I was like, this is the most offensive costume I've ever seen on a little kid. What kind of parents would dress their kid up like an Orthodox Jew? And I found the parents. You guys are not going to believe this. Also dressed like Orthodox Jews. I know. Whole family trying to get canceled on Halloween. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's silly. I think race is so sensitive because it's like a part of us, you know? You can't change it. It's like the last thing that you can't change about yourself. But maybe in the future, you could change your ethnicity. Not permanently, but just casually, you know? Like, what if you could wake up in the morning and just decide to be like white or black or Asian or whatever, just, you know, as easily as changing your clothes? I think there would still be racism, but it would be like seasonal. You know, like you'd go to the office and you'd be like, oh shit, have you guys seen the new guy is Indian after Labor Day? What? That's inappropriate. Or oh, Jenny, you can't be white to a wedding. No. The invitation said African or Asian formal. It's black tie. Yeah. That means you can be black or tie. Those are the two. All right. Okay. All right. We got through that. I went to the Natural History Museum recently, and they have a shark exhibit. It's very cool. It's all about sharks. But I feel like they're trying to get you to feel bad for the sharks a little bit. Like, that's the vibe of it. They're like, sharks are very misunderstood, actually. It's like, no, I think I got it. I think I get sharks, right? They're like, well, they don't actually kill that many people. Like, they're like pit bull owners, you know? They're like, they don't actually murder that many toddlers. But sharks would eat us. It's not a moral thing, you know? They're not like, ugh, I would never eat a human, you know? They're like, it's just that we don't taste good to sharks. They only get to eat like, what, one piece of a surfer every couple of months? They get like one bite of a surfer, and they're too muscly to taste good, you know? I'm just saying, if fat people were more into surfing, I think we would have way bigger of a shark problem. It would be insane. I also think it's funny, every time that someone gets eaten by a shark, there's like one shark activist that has to speak up. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it wasn't the shark's fault. The shark probably just thought that woman was a seal. Isn't that just the yeah, but what was she wearing of shark attacks? Oh my God, he took your legs? That's terrible. Wait, were you dressed like a slutty little seal? Typical. Wearing a black wetsuit, looking all delicious. Ugh. I feel bad for seals, you know? I'm team seal, by the way. I don't know if you can tell. You gotta pick a side with animals. You can't just be like, I love all animals, because they eat each other all the time. So you gotta pick one. I love seals. I was watching a polar bear documentary where they were like, oh, these polar bears are so endangered because of climate change. We have to say, and there's like a polar bear eating a baby seal neck, just like, ah. And they're like, oh, these poor polar bears, oh my God. They're like, climate change kills millions of polar bears every year, which is very sad, unless you're a seal. And then it's pretty rad. I think seals are into climate change, you know? It makes your water warmer, that's pretty cool. And it gets rid of all those big white motherfuckers that are killing your babies. So it's a win. Why wouldn't you support climate change if you were a seal? Why wouldn't you go to Trump rallies with the red hats, you know, and just a bunch of seals trying to bring back coal, you know? At the end of the documentary, there's a polar bear on the little iceberg, you know, and it's like shrinking. Like, oh no. Oh no, no more ice for me. I think they should cut to a seal. And the seal is like, yeah. Drown that bitch, you know? What? That guy ate my kids. Fuck that guy. Here's a random question. Have you guys ever, suddenly realized that you have to take a shit? but you still have like 15 more minutes in your stand-up comedy set. Has that ever... Has that happened to you guys while you're recording your specials? Just a random question. Nah, I'm just kidding. I was in a taxi the other day, and the taxi driver asked me if he smelled bad. Yeah, he asked me if he smelled, like he was like, do I smell bad? I was like, if you drive a cab in New York, you're not supposed to ask if you smell bad. You're just supposed to smell bad, you know? That's part of the deal. It's part of the New York experience that we all signed up for, right? I don't need to be involved in the decision-making process. It's like if the crazy guy on the subway was like, is this too crazy for you? I can tone this down if you want. I don't... Just do your thing, man, you know? I'm here for it. I saw a woman breastfeeding on the subway, and she had like a little shawl to cover up, you know, like her breasts so nobody could see what the baby's drinking out of or whatever. Isn't that just the baby version of a drunk guy boozing out of a paper bag? Like, we all know what's in there. You know, nobody's like, what is that, a Snapple that he's got? Is that just, you don't need the thing. But I don't know, women get sexualized on the street, I get it, you know? Somebody was telling me women can't even eat bananas anymore. Like, women can't eat bananas anymore in public because men are gonna sexualize it, which is true. But I feel like it works both ways too. Like, there are some foods that I can't eat in public as a man because women will sexualize it. You know, like if I have a bagel on the street or something, I swear to God, it doesn't matter how carefully I put it on my dick. Like some lady with a filthy mind is gonna say something creepy, like, hey officer, he's fucking that bagel or whatever. Get your mind out of the gutter, lady. I was just storing it for later, you know? I'm sorry. Women do get sexualized by me on TikTok, but do you guys use TikTok? Yeah. If you don't, you should not start. It's not good for you. But what I do like about TikTok is it figures out what you like. Like, you don't have to tell it what you like. It just learns, you know? And I feel like TikTok knows that I like tits and stuff. But every once in a while, it'll just check if I'm gay. Like, it'll just... I'll just be scrolling, tits. This guy's pretty ripped. What do you think about that? No? I'm sorry about that. We'll check back in a month, but I'm sorry about that. I think that's nice that they check, you know? You never know. I don't know. No, technology's crazy. We had our daughter with technology. We did IVF, in vitro fertilization. So if you don't know IVF, it's this thing where I gave my sperm to a doctor, and then the doctor did this cool science-y thing where he impregnated my wife for me or whatever. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, you know? I barely think about it. No, IVF is fine, but the one thing is it has kind of changed the way I watch sports a little bit. Like now if somebody makes a basket, I'm like, did you guys see the assist on that though? Wow. How about that dude that gave the ball to the other guy? Right? I mean, the guy that actually fertilized the basket or whatever. The first guy is pretty cool with the pass, you know? You know, it's a team effort. There's no I in sperm, right? It takes a village to knock my wife up, right? Yeah. We had to do that because I have no vas deferens. I don't have the tube that connects your balls to your dick hole. So my sperm are like trapped inside my testicles. So I shoot blanks, as they say. That's the only way I've learned how to talk to people about this, is to compare it to a gun. But I don't like saying that I shoot blanks because I feel like you guys are imagining a tiny gun. You guys are imagining like pew, 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 pew. But it's not, it's like yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. It's a great applause break. No, we bet it's really loud, Gus. Yeah. Woo. Oh, that's really funny. Anyway, the gun is fine. That's what I'm trying to say. I've never had any complaints about the gun. It's the bullets that are trapped in there. So to have our daughter, I had to have like a C-section on my right nut. And not a lot of dads know which nut their kid came out of, you know? I think that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to tell her, you know? Yeah. I think it's good to know where you came from, you know? You were the right nut. So anyway, I had to have surgery. And when you get surgery, if you've ever had surgery, you have to sign this list of side effects that you're like okay with from the anesthesia. You have to be like, yes, I'm fine with all these. There's like 30 of them. It's like nausea, skin irritation, death is on there. It's kind of a main effect if you ask me, but, and then the next one's like diarrhea. Here's my thing, I don't think you have to tell me that death is in the menu, you know? Because if I die, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna haunt the hospital complaints department as a ghost, you know? I'm not gonna float up and be like, ooh, hey, I was here for ball surgery a little bit ago. No, my balls feel great, thank you. But I'm dead. Also, I have diarrhea, and you guys didn't, you should have told me. Anyway, it's obviously, it's tough to shoot blanks when you're trying to have a kid, that sucks. But when you're not trying to have a kid, or you're trying not to have a kid, it's pretty sweet. In my 20s, it was like a superpower, you know? Because it meant that I could have unlimited, unprotected sex with any number of women. Turns out that number was 6, but... But who's counting? 6 is kind of pathetic for a superpower like that, you know? It's kind of a waste of a superpower. It's like if your superpower was that you could talk to animals, and then you only talk to like 6 animals. And then the other animals are like, stop talking to us, please. You're not... Why is this the guy that can talk to us? That's why it was never like that big of a deal for me to get married. I mean, I love my wife, but getting married to me was like just a continuation, you know? Like my friend before I got married, he was like, whoa, you're getting married? Like, you know, that's it. Like, you can't have sex with anybody else. I was like, yeah, I already couldn't do that. You're a little late. I'm a very faithful guy. I've been totally faithful to my wife for 10 years. Solid. Thank you. Thank you. 10 years, totally faithful. I have known her for about 8.5 years, but... Thank you. Got a little head start. I think that's nice. No, I love being married. I don't miss being single, but I do like to talk to my single friends, you know? I like to know what they're up to, what the dating scene is like, you know? I'm out of the game, but I like to follow the games. Does that make sense? I like to know what's going on. One of my friends was telling me that women like to be choked now during sex. He said he was having sex and a girl asked him to choke her during sex. And I was like, wow, that sounds kind of cool. I don't know. Not because I want to do it. It's weird and violent, but it would be... But it would be cool to have a simple instruction like that. That'd be kind of cool. Choking is easier than what my wife wants me to do during sex. Which is just to make her come somehow. What do I do with that? Don't get me wrong, I can do it. But I can't show my work. Does that make sense? I don't know how I got there. But choking is easy. Choking would be so easy. I mean, again, I don't want to choke my wife, but I know how I would do it. You know, I know how I would get it done. I wouldn't have to ask any embarrassing questions like, are you choking yet or whatever? Do you think you're gonna choke or should I just stop now? Like, No, my wife and I are pretty kinky. We do stuff. We do sex stuff. Have you guys heard of edging? Edging is a sex thing where you get really close, like you almost come, and then you back off. And then you almost come again, and then you back off. And my wife and I do that, but we almost have sex. Ooh, and then we back way off. Like we get into bed together, and then fall asleep. And we can do that for days. Ooh, it's tantric. I'm like, do you want it? And she's like, nah. And I'm like, ooh, edged again. Fuck. So hot. All right. No, I love that I don't have to actually say anything to have sex. That's the best part of being married, is that you don't have to ask, you know? Like when I want to have sex, I just push my flaccid penis into her butt cheek. And then if she wants it, she goes this way. And if she doesn't, the other way. Very efficient. It bums me out that single people can't do this. You guys have to say embarrassing shit like, excuse me, or whatever. What podcasts do you listen to? Ugh. Terrible. I think it would be, you guys should be able to do my thing, you know, like in line at the bank. I wish you could be online at the bank and just be like. I think the economy would run a lot faster. Save a lot of time. No, I love being married. I love being married, and I love my wife. I feel like I can say that. I love my wife. I thank you. She's amazing. My wife is my best friend, by the way. She is actually my best friend. Mostly because I don't see my other friends that much anymore. But that's not her fault, you know? That's my other friend's fault, you know? I'm 36 years old. If you want to be my best friend at 36, you gotta live in my house and fuck me occasionally. That's it. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. And Sarah's the only one putting in the work on that. So, good for her. You gotta have your other friends too, though. You know, you gotta have your spouse and then your friends. You know, because you need somebody that you can talk to about everything, right? Some people are like, I tell my wife everything. I tell her everything. Really? Do you tell your wife everything about your wife? How does that work? Are you like, hey, honey, you're not going to believe what you said to me the other day. Wow. Look at this text thread. Can you believe this bitch? Wow. I know. No, you got to have your friends and then your spouse, right? It's like separation of church and state, right? Your best friend's the church, because they're a priest. You can tell your friend anything, you know? It's like a confessional. You can tell him anything. And then your wife's the government. Because you're supposed to tell her everything, but if you actually did, you go to jail. So it's... You gotta keep them separated. But no, I love my wife. My wife is great. Sometimes my wife is one of the sweetest people that I know. She is the sweetest person that I know. But sometimes she'll say something that's like both sweet and dumb as shit. Like one time we were in bed, we were snuggling, and she told me that she feels safe in my arms. I was like, honey, I don't even feel safe with these. So I don't know what you think these noodles are gonna do for you. In a home invasion scenario, while we're both asleep. Like she thinks a murderer is gonna creep into our bed while we're asleep and be like about to stab her. And then he sees me there. And he's like, shit, never mind. I can't murder this woman. Not if she's being protected by this unconscious anorexic boy. So shit, I gotta go. All right, I gotta go, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.